Hello. First of all, I really hope that you're all safe and well. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Alice, the General Manager of the MIA and the Editor of MIA News. Today, I'm bringing you another question and answer session to help you and your business to navigate through the coronavirus pandemic. You might have seen some of our previous webinars. We did one on HR and employment law, one on furlough leave, and one on general business guidance for our industry. So thanks so much for all of your positive feedback on them. They're all still available to watch on the MIA website. You can take a look at our COVID-19 page, which we update daily with the latest articles, videos, guidance. So today, the subject of our webinar is mental wellbeing. Many of you watching this will be following government guidance and isolating. You might be working from home, you might have even been furloughed. So your day-to-day routine might have changed massively. You might be missing that interaction with colleagues and customers that you usually have. You might even be taking on more than usual with caring for your family or homeschooling your children. So taking care of your own mind and your employees' mental health too is really important while staying at home. So today I'm delighted to be joined by the wonderful Deborah Ogden, who's a personal branding expert. She helps people to discover and enhance their natural strengths. And she's got lots of wonderful experience as a lawyer, a media manager, and a business owner. I'll be asking her some of the key questions that have come up concerning looking after your mental health and well-being while you're isolated, furloughed, or working from home. So without any further ado, hello, Deborah.
Good morning, Alice.
So I can get started with some questions if that works for you.
Okay, yeah, that would be super. Thank you.
So I guess the first thing is that it all feels very uncertain. So what would you advise to help me to cope with this uncertainty?
Well, first of all, I hope everybody is feeling safe and well, because these are such anxious times. And for me, certainly, in talking to my clients and my network, one of the hardest things about this is the uncertainty. So we've never experienced it before. We're all in it together, and we can't see an end. So this uncertainty really makes us feel anxious. So it's important to remember that there will be an end. Now, what that end will look like and when it will be, none of us know at the moment. I mean, we're recording this today on Thursday the 16th, and I think the general consensus is we're in for another 3 weeks at least. So it's about managing our expectation of that time. And also thinking to ourselves, well, we will come out the other side, that's guaranteed, but we don't know what that new normal will look like. So it's about accepting that things may be different and trying to be flexible, but also looking at how we would like that new normal to look like for us. So I'm a big believer in that there is a lot that we can't control, but there's this central circle. If you have two rings, you've got the central circle, and within that, that's the area that we can control. And then outside that circle of control, there's the stuff we can't control. And it's very easy to say this, but I would recommend that you try and let go of the stuff outside your circle of control. So you can control your mindset, you can control what you eat, getting out and getting some exercise, the amount of media that you consume. You can keep in contact with people and try and maybe meditate or have some quiet time, some positivity. So those are all things we can control, but we can't control what's happening with the pandemic. So it's just thinking about, okay, I can do something about this. I can't do anything about this, so I'm going to let that go.
That's great. So I've been furloughed and I feel like the days are really lacking in purpose. So I wonder what I can do to prevent my confidence getting knocked.
Yeah, this is something that happens to people when they're not in a pandemic. So if people maybe have been made redundant, or a lot of our identity can be tied up with our day job. So people, one of the first questions when you go networking, or even if you're at a party or you meet somebody, we often say, what do you do? And very much we identify ourselves by what we do as a job or as a business. So this is why people can feel quite unsure at this time, on top of all the other things that we've already touched on. So when you are furloughed, if you're are at home for a period of time, it's important to have some structure. So try and add some routine to your day so that you have some kind of purpose to the day. And it's important to do something during, so I tend to choose 3 tasks that I want to get through in the day. So I have a purpose, 3 clear tasks. And just by achieving those tasks and ticking them off maybe on a list, you have that sense of purpose and you feel that you've achieved something. And I think sometimes it's this, again, going back to that uncertainty, but if you have no structure in the day, you can virtually feel a bit aimless. So having maybe three clear outcomes that you are looking to achieve in that day. But also it's a great time for reflection, and maybe look at the last 12 months or longer and write down a list of all the things that you have achieved in your career or in your current business, and really reflect on this time. I've been saying to my clients that this is actually a gift, because it allows us some time to reflect and really come out the side and be the people that we want to be and have the businesses that we want to do. So just really try and find a purpose in this time rather than let the days, drift away aimlessly.
Thank you. Yeah, I really like that thought of being a bit more positive and reflecting. I think that's great. So I struggle to stay focused when I'm working from home. Have you got any tips that might help me to concentrate?
Well, again, going back to the boundaries. So everybody's very different and people work in different ways. But I think it is good to have some kind of structure however you work. So set your alarm in the same time as you always would do. Get up, have your shower, get dressed. A lot of people, I've seen so much on Instagram and different areas about dressing from the top up, so that it's a Zoom call and people are just seeing the top of you. But it's about what's comfortable for you. Some people like to dress in their work clothes and it makes them feel more like they're in work mode, and maybe get changed when they finish at the end of the day. Some people are more relaxed. Again, that's very personal. But try and put some key points in the day. And the other thing for me, which is absolutely key, is try and focus on the outcomes that you want to achieve rather than the hours that you're sat working. So depending on the role, because your members will all have very different roles, I would yes, think. Absolutely. But certainly a lot of people that I work with are tempted to sit at their laptops from 9 till 5 and feel that they're working. But actually in these times, we're not very productive often. So it's good to think, right, I'm going to look at outcomes and think, again, three things. We can't tend to do more than 3 things well. So choose those 3 things. It might be 1 or 2 things that you are going to achieve in that day. And once you've achieved it, you put the laptop away and you go and enjoy the sunshine, or go for your hour's walk and have a break. But really try and think of outcomes rather than time, and plan it, and maybe set an alarm for 45 minutes and say, I'm going to give myself 45 minutes and then I'll have a treat at the end. For me, that's a cup of coffee in the garden, whatever that may be.
Lovely. I've found that some days I feel absolutely fine. I feel like everything's normal. And then other days I can feel really, really anxious and just, things aren't sitting right. Is this normal?
Well, it's a bit of a roller coaster, isn't it?
Yes, definitely.
And this is, yeah, absolutely. And this is where we have to be kind to ourselves and accept. I follow a lady who is an American researcher called Brené Brown, and she's got a new podcast out at the moment. And she was talking about first times and how we can be quite hard on ourselves when we do something for the first time, and we have these expectations that we're going to meet, and sometimes we fall short. And as she said, none of us have ever dealt with a global pandemic before, so that we're unsure what to do, we're anxious, there's uncertainty. So all these quite negative emotions can be bearing down on us. And some days we can get up and we'll feel okay, and some days we will have bad days. And most important to say, it's okay not to be okay. We can be quite hard on ourselves sometimes, so it's okay to feel down. And on the days that you don't feel great, I would be kind to yourself and cut yourself some slack, and maybe the outcomes on that day are things that you really enjoy doing, that you love doing, that perhaps don't need as much brain power. And then think about something that you really love to do and indulge in that. So it might be that you know, music, indulge in some music, get out in the fresh air. There's so many studies say that getting out in nature and the fresh air do us good. And spend time with people as well. Sometimes just reaching out. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've had so many, I wish I'd bought shares in Zoom before all this, because I've had so many Zoom calls. So really try and keep up that connection with people. Maybe if you're lucky enough to have a garden and a neighbour, you can have a chat over the garden fence, but keep in contact, because actually on the days you feel good, perhaps reach out to people who they might be having a bad day. So it is a roller coaster, and we just have to accept that.
Yeah, I think that's excellent advice. So my partner and I are both working from home and we're homeschooling. So as you can imagine, it all feels very chaotic. So I wonder how I can restore some order.
Good question. That sounds like our house. This is about boundaries. So again, we have a little mini meeting at the beginning of the day. So I have a 12-year-old son, nearly 13, and he's been starting his day with PE with Joe Wicks. So we've got a real start to the day. But before we do that, we set our day out. So we all know what our key outcomes are. So I know that if I've got Zoom calls, or maybe I'm going live on something, or I'm running a webinar, then there are times when mum has to be in the office and can't be disturbed. And we all have our space. So we've managed to carve out space. And it might be that you're all in the same room, but you've all got your desk. And I think it's about putting those boundaries in and saying, okay, if I've got my headphones in, then unfortunately I'm on a call and I can't be disturbed. Now, I appreciate that for younger children that can be quite difficult, but you know, again, flipping this on its head, what a great time for us all, but children as well, to learn some kind of disciplines and resilience. And so it's about talking about our needs, because we all have different needs, because we're all very different people. And it might be that your partner's having a bad day one day and you're feeling up, and it's about supporting each other, being kind, and letting things go that perhaps might frustrate us on other days, because we're not used to all being under the same roof quite often, and we all have our ways of doing things. And I don't know about you, but there's my way and the wrong way when it comes to home. So it really is just working out what works for you.
Thank you. So I really miss my day-to-day routine. What can I do to give my life a bit more structure?
Well, I think we've touched on this already, but know what it is within your routine that really makes you tick. So there'll be things within your routine that you don't enjoy. Well, great, we can perhaps drop them at the moment. And this is part of this time of reflection, but also look at your routine. So if you are somebody that maybe catches the train into work and you enjoy that time because it's time to reflect and listen to music or set up your day, then try and incorporate that into your day as it is. We're a little bit of artists of our own day here. It's like we start with a blank blank page and we can decide what our day is going to look like. So think about your routine and what really fires you up and makes you thrive, and then try and cherry pick those things and bring those into your day to day as it is now. And I truly believe that when we come out the other side of this, I think the new normal will globally will look different, but we have an opportunity here to change our own new normal. And we might decide that actually there are things within our routine that don't serve us that well, and we're going to get rid of them. But there are those things that we think, I love doing that and I'm going to do more of it. So really try and introduce those, and hopefully we can bring some of this into our future new normal.
Yeah, I think we can learn a lot from the situation we're in at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I wonder, have you got any tips on staying connected with colleagues, with customers, with the people that you're so used to seeing day to day?
Yeah, I mean, I saw a little meme on Facebook the other day that said, introverts, get in touch with your extrovert friends because they're going to be struggling at the
Very
moment.
true, yeah.
Absolutely. And I always say I'm an extroverted introvert, so my job is all about connection. But actually, the one thing I want to do when I get home is shut the door and just be with my family. And I think a lot of people are like that. And there is a temptation at the moment to want to hibernate and hide. But I truly believe we've got to be ready for coming out the other side. So we need to stay visible, and we need to stay what I call front of mind person in the minds of our customers and our clients. So it's important to keep in contact with our network, and it's a great opportunity to perhaps get in touch with people that we haven't seen for a while, that we may have lost touch with, but also to check in on a regular basis. So if you are part of a team, I've heard of some lovely stories of, with Fizz Friday, or, a virtual pub on a Friday evening. So there's great ways like that you can connect, but just picking up the phone. And I was talking to somebody yesterday who said they really miss that, when you stand up and walk around the office and have a chat with somebody.
Yeah.
And it's that interaction, isn't it?
It is.
And I think that's what Zoom has been really good at, because you still get the body language and the eye-to-eye connection, rather than just a phone call, which doesn't quite have that connection the same. But the other thing is social media as well. It's a great time just to share on social media and keep profile up, and maybe help people within your network. If you have people that are sharing information on social media, engage with them and interact with them, because we forget sometimes that social media is about being social, and it's a two-way thing. And often people will go on there and broadcast something and put something out there, but they forget that it's a two-way thing in engagement. And hopefully, while we've got a little bit more time, we can truly engage a bit more on social media and really build some of those connections.
Yeah. Well, Deborah, thank you so much for your time. That was absolutely brilliant. I think you've answered all my questions fantastically there.
I think it's just a time to be kind, reflect, do what we can. We're all learning at this, but let's hope and pray we get through the other side safe and well.
Yeah, thank you. So I hope that everyone has enjoyed watching and that it's been useful for you. We plan to bring you these webinar sessions as often as you need them. So please do let us know if there's any subjects you'd like to hear more about, and we'll cover them for you. So all that's left to say is stay safe. Please do get in touch if there's anything at all that the MIA can do to help. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.